Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Chewables. I'm Graeme. I want you to just stop, just for a second, think about all the things you have going on in a given week. Think about meal preparations and think about date nights. Think about taking kids to sports practices. All the things you have going on. And not only that, but you have relational components on top of that. And it just gets to be so much, and then your downtime, you kind of fill it with Netflix, you fill it with Facebook and Instagram and, Pinterest things. You want to make a driftwood birdhouse for some reason. All these things in a given week, all these things that you do, and still we feel this pull to do more. We feel like we as humans just need to be doing more, pushing ourselves to the limits. And today we're going to talk about how God maybe wants something radically different for us. Instead of doing more, instead of what's the next thing that we can add to our plate, I think that God wants us to stop, take a deep breath, and simplify. That's what we're talking about today, simplify. One of the coolest things about studying the life of Jesus is that the Bible tells us that Jesus is fully God and fully man in his time here on earth, which means he's the only person to ever live with eternal perspective here on earth. Kind of cool. For only person to ever have perfect priorities, and we get to see how does somebody with eternal perspective make day-to-day decisions. That's why studying the life of Jesus is so cool. And as we study the life of Jesus, what we see is that his life was incredibly simple. Not easy by any stretch, but it was simple. He wasn't stretching himself to the limits. As a matter of fact, Jesus created margin around the things that he prioritized the most. He wanted to ensure the health of the things that were most important to him, so he created margin around those. There's a prayer that Jesus does in Matthew 11. And at one point he says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light." It doesn't sound like do more. It doesn't sound like add something else to your plate or stretch to the limits. It sounds like rest, right? It sounds like deep breath. Jesus has given you beautiful gifts in your life, and maybe this week is just an opportunity to stop, simplify, and say, what are my priorities? What are the gifts in my life that I want to prioritize and ensure the health of by creating margin around them? With whomever you're with, just the group there, would you just have a conversation? Talk about what are the things that God has uniquely given you, and how to prioritize those to be the most effective in those by creating margin around. Maybe shifting things in your schedule, maybe even eliminating things in your schedule, because God wants you to be effective in relationship around the priorities that he's given you. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.